Hi, this is Alex Cosper with SacTV.com. Today, instead of a river chat or a studio chat, I'm doing a street chat. Just because it's a nice sunny day and it's kind of warm but breezy, so it's comfortable. And I want to take a walk down Arden Way in Sacramento to pick up on my last video where I told you about how near Arden and Watt, which is where I am here, I worked at a roller rink as a DJ back in the 80s before I got into radio. And that rink, called King's Skate Country, is now a bingo parlor called Sacramento Bingo Center. And I talked about how bingo, skating's better for the community, I think. However, I realized that this bingo place raises money for the county, so that goes to whatever, who knows what it pays for. So at least there's some kind of community service aspect to this bingo thing. But like I was saying, I think bingo is all by chance. I don't think you can win at bingo regularly with some kind of edge. If there is, I don't know what it is. I don't know how you can game the system. Maybe by playing a lot, but then, you know, you get, for $40, you get to play 8 games at this bingo place, and that's to try to win $300. So I think you'd have to spend over $1,000 before you could win 300 for sure, like if you were going by odds. So it makes no sense to me. Stocks, on the other hand, you can invest in stocks and they can go up, and you know, there's thousands of stocks to choose from. However, not that many really do well over time, and that's what a lot of people don't know. Now, this is not financial advice, since I'm not a financial advisor. I don't hold any degrees or licenses in financial whatever, so therefore I can't invest or recommend investments for other people. I can do it for myself though, and that's what I do. And I've made money in the stock market. However, I pulled a lot of it out in late December after there was this big Trump rally right after he got elected in 2024. But in the following month, it peaked. Prices started decaying, and I just, that to me was a warning signal to me. So I got out, and I'm glad I did, because for the next 3 straight months, stock prices went down, 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 down. And Tesla especially was a stock that was burning out. However, Tesla was revived by one of Trump's administrators, the Secretary of Commerce, named Howard Lutnick, who's a billionaire. He promoted Tesla's stock. He literally went public and said, buy Tesla stock, which is illegal. A government official's not supposed to do that, but you know, Trump's making up his own rules these days. They fired the ethics guy who normally would be in charge of that, and so they're fast tracking corruption, it looks like to me. But it just goes to show how stocks can be easily manipulated, how they're not really real prices, they're just these bouncing numbers. And just to demystify it for you, I've learned a lot about the market, and I'm only going to share so much that I think is valuable information. That way I can concentrate it in a short video, instead of like all these other YouTube videos where they tell you tons of stuff you don't need to know. Like YouTube algorithms, they reward all these lousy, phony trader people who give you bad advice, and advice that could potentially wipe you out. But YouTube algorithm favors that over me because they don't see me as a national figure. The algorithms are programmed that way. See, it favors sponsors, big corporate brands, people that have been on national media, people that are part of big networks. You know, like if you work for a tech company, chances are you got a lot of people on your network, or you network with a lot of people through email. And so those are the people who do well on YouTube. I just upload my song videos, and you'll see one at the end of this. But I do that, and I don't promote the videos in any way. So doesn't it's growing organically. The following is gradually, incrementally moving upward, like in subscribers and views. But I don't pay attention to those metrics at this time, because it's not important to me until I decide to promote this. Now, I might promote my group Sunsetrip, my music project that already has 1.5 albums online. If I decide to try to make that a money maker in any way, then I'll get a P.O. box right here across from me at this cool place that issues P.O. boxes, and use that as my professional mailing address. And it was cool. I went in there one day and told them who I was and how I used to be on the radio in town. Oh, what station? Quad. Oh, I used to listen to them all the time, she said. And so she loved it. She loved that 90s modern rock. And we talked for a while, so we had a good conversation there. Right now I'm kind of in front of AT&T. You'll see a lot of corporate brands on Arden Way as we take a walk down what I would say corporate America. Because you'll notice, this street used to be just full of mom and pop small businesses back in the 80s, but now it's the extreme opposite. It's mostly corporate strip malls. So let's take a look. So taking a quick look at what's at Arden and Watt. Sushi place, that might be a local business. I'm not sure if it is or not. I don't really eat sushi much. I have nothing against it. I like sushi, but a lot of it to me seems overpriced. So I'm someone who's economically conscious, but nutrition still comes first for me. Dentist of Arden, that's got to be local compared to all these other dental places that seem national. Here's a former Rite Aid from maybe a year ago that shut down and is still up for lease. What's funny is this is Arden and Watt, probably one of the best locations in town in Sacramento, and yet this thing couldn't make a profit. Just like a lot of Rite Aids started closing down, just like a lot of pharmacy places started closing down, because it's hard for them to be profitable due to these middlemen getting involved with health care, like insurance and consulting. And so they're taking a cut, and then you got pharma prices are so sky high, and they're criminally sky high. They're not they're just inflated. It doesn't cost that much to make drugs, but they love jacking up prices because that's something they can get away with. They've brainwashed America into thinking that all medicine is good as long as it's part of the establishment's medicine, not street medicine. And that's not true, because a lot of drugs do get recalled because they're harmful. Smart and Final, I do have a card for this place. I never shop here though, because it's low prices that I've seen in other places. So I have alternatives. Otherwise, it's probably a decent place. They don't have that much organic food there. I love organic food, not conventional food that's full of toxic chemicals. PetSmart, I don't have any pets at this time. I love pets though. So maybe someday I'll go there. Okay, going up a little north on Watt Avenue, just a block or two. There's places here I never go to, but it's nice to know they're near me. A Babylon City Market, deli and bakery. I just don't go to delis or bakeries much. Taco Bell is horrible. They're on my avoid list. I actually used to work at the Taco Bell that's further down the street on the other side of Arden Way. It's now a Subway, but one of my first jobs was in the summer of 1980 as Taco Bell. And they fired me because I was too slow at wrapping the burritos. So I only lasted there a month or two. But what was funny is once I dropped a big pan of meat dropped a big pan of meat on the ground, and I was gonna throw it all away, but they said, no, just heat it back up. At the time, Taco Bell was owned by Pepsi in 1980. No longer owned by that, now they're owned by Yum Brands. Lucky Wok used to be a different Asian restaurant, I believe, and it was a buffet. It used to be like a Chinese buffet. I don't know if it still is a buffet. I never eat there, but I like Asian food. Asian food prices have skyrocketed just like every other type of food. Thanks to supply chain ripoffs and just corporate CEOs getting away with it. That's called corporate price gouging. And, you know, the administration's not doing anything about it. Biden kind of gave lip service to consumers, saying, oh yeah, we'll crack down on that, but never did. And the Trump administration, the same way, said, is promised to bring down prices through pumping up oil because if you increase the supply of oil, then it brings down oil prices, which brings down the rest of pricing in the market, supposedly, in theory. But anyway, it remains to be seen what happens during the second Trump administration. Anyway, this Taco Bell here used to be, in this location, was an A&W, which was one of the first fast food brands in America. And it started near Sacramento, not exactly in Sacramento, but in like Lodi, just south of Sacramento, not far. But I do believe their first, and that was like a hamburger stand or something back in the early 1900s or 1920s. And A&W, it stands for the name of the original founders, two founders. I forget their last names, but they're part of Sacramento history because the first A&W restaurant was in Sacramento somewhere, not this particular one that used to be here. A&W is now part of Yum Brands, which is the owner of Taco Bell, like I said. All right, let's walk back down Watt Avenue and get back on Arden Way. By the way, this PetSmart and Smart and Final location, this used to be Payless discount drugstore back in the 70s, late 70s. And my family used to come here right before skating across the street. And I liked it because they had a wide selection of records here. Back then, you had not just record stores, but you could buy albums and singles in all kinds of different places, including drugstores. And that's what Tower Records originally was a drugstore. So, back to Arden and Watt. To my left, you'll see Western Dental, their office. I guess that's an orthodontist. I don't need that anymore. I had that back when I was a kid. Diagonally from me is Arden Junior High, a recently remodeled junior high, where my two brothers and younger sister used to go back in the 70s. Yeah. And then across the street from me directly is Taco Express, open 24 hours at the corner of Arden and Watt, and it replaced Jack in the Box, which was here for many years until like about a year ago. And then it just went empty for a while, and then these guys, they're like a local regional taco group, I believe. Taco Express, I don't really eat tacos much anymore. I was raised on tacos though, and I ate a lot of tacos growing up, and at this time in 2025 they have dollar tacos on Tuesday. I noticed a lot of Mexican restaurants, and this is claiming to be authentic Mexican, have specials like for tacos on Tuesdays. They even had that in San Diego when I was there for a while. I actually have eaten here a couple times just to test out their tacos. I like organic food. I don't think they have any organic food. But once in a while I'll break the rules and eat something else, like if it's from my, you know, distant past. Like I say, I was raised on tacos, so every now and then I have a taco or burrito, even if it's not organic, but I try to stay organic. Next to that is Big Five Sporting Goods, and that's been there forever, like maybe even as far back as the 70s, but definitely there in the 90s. I can't remember if it was there in the 80s. And next to that is McDonald's. Everyone knows McDonald's, one of the most toxic trash restaurants on the planet. I never eat there anymore. However, I used to all the time. Not this particular store, but that's what the restaurant biz calls these places, stores. I just did research and found out it's just unhealthy food compared to organic food. Now, food can be broken down into 3 categories. To make it easy on those who can't figure this out, you think, well, maybe all food is toxic, or maybe they're just making this up about toxic food. But the 3 types of main food on the commercial market are processed, unprocessed, and ultra-processed. And ultra-processed is the worst food you could put in your body. It's like McDonald's and all these things full of chemicals, like artificial, industrial chemicals for preservatives, flavors, color. I don't need any of that in my body. My body even tells me that. Dave's Hot Chicken across the street. This is where the roller rink, this is in front of where the roller rink used to be, now Bingo Center. I've told you about this in the past on another video. This is just all fried chicken. I don't eat fried chicken. Every now and then I'll eat a type of chicken that might not be fried, but fried is particularly unhealthy because it's heated at a high temperature, and then the high temperature creates these chemicals, a chemical compound called acrylamide, which is linked to cancer. Warehouse paint, never go there, don't need it. The Dugout Deli, that's a local little place, but I don't think it's organic, so I never eat there. However, I went in there once and it looked like an okay selection for people who are trying to be halfway healthy. On the other side of the street, there's a fitness center called In Shape. Ross Dress for Less is national. I do go to that every now and then. I think they have good deals. However, usually a clothing store with good deals is a sign of slave labor in another country somewhere. Next to them is Safeway. Oh, by the way, Ross Dress for Less, that just came on the scene here at this location recently, like in the past few months. Before that used to be CVS, another pharma place that went out of business at this location, but can still be found all over town for the same reasons. They had to downsize due to profitability margin concerns. The pharma giants are taking too big of a cut, so it's hard for these guys to make a profit. So they're just closing down stores. That's true of Walgreens as well. We'll see a closed down Walgreens at the end of this tour. DQ is Dairy Queen, the overpriced burger place where they give out coupons that say 99-cent whatever is the big thing next to the logo. But the deal is you got to buy a $10 burger to get the 99-cent extra burger. I don't eat burgers anymore. That place is owned by Warren Buffett. A lot of people look at him as one of the most brilliant investors of all time, forgetting or not knowing that he's the son of a congressman who shaped the laws that affect stock prices. And as a kid, he learned from his dad, who was also a stockbroker. Okay, plus Warren Buffett had an expert trader working for him named Charlie Munger, who lived to be 100 and died in the past year. So after that, Warren pulled a lot of his money out of stocks, including Apple. Arden Church of the Nazarene, never go there. I'm not a churchgoer. Safeway. Oh, one of many in the USA. That particular one has been there since 1979. Used to be a department store called Gold Circle. Before that, it was called White Front, another department store back in the 70s. There used to be a T-Mobile at this empty place here. Somehow had to move and find another location. So next Safeway across the street is Dollar Tree. I do go to Dollar Tree here and there for some good deals on junk I would rather not buy at grocery stores. Here's a building I've seen all my life. I've walked by it a million times, but I've never been in it once. Professional Village. I guess this building's been here since 1959. And I think it is just a kind of a bunch of, it's like a catch-all name for a strip mall where any kind of business could be. Oh, Professional Village Pharmacy. And I believe, though, that Professional Village is the name of this strip mall, and that there's all kinds of other businesses here, like there's a chiropractic place. There's a financial place way over there, but anyway, I've never gone in here, even though it's a familiar landmark to me. Directly across the street from Professional Village is Chipotle, and they have these all over town and all over America, of course. At one time they were owned by McDonald's, but they had been independent before that, and they've spun off and back to being their own company again. They used to tout themselves as organic food. I don't know if they still do. I don't eat here much anymore and never have really. However, they do have veggie bowls, and sometimes I pop in here for a veggie bowl, which is under $10 at the moment. So it's affordable, decent food. Remember what I said, the 3 categories of food are processed, unprocessed, and ultra processed. I would guess they fall more in the line of processed food, which isn't as bad as ultra processed, which is very bad for you. And then there's unprocessed, which includes like organic things like fruit, vegetables that you would grow without pesticides. And that's why it's healthier. They don't put in those chemical toxins that kill bugs but also kill people over time. Apparently, from research, that there's lots of health risks to eating lots of junk food like McDonald's and all those. This church has been here since 1954. Never been in it once, because I'm not a churchgoer. I believe in my own philosophies, which is that we're all part of the same universe, and there is good and there is bad, but not the way the Bible describes. In other words, things aren't characteristically evil associated with a character named Satan. I think that's all made up crap. If there were a real God, why would he have so many different religions? He or she have so many different religions that fighting each other, creating all these wars. The root cause of all these human wars is completely stupid. Across the street from me is Kaiser, and that might have been part of the area where White Front was at one time. I don't know if it was, but where Safeway is now is supposedly where White Front was. And I do remember shopping there in the early 70s with my family. But Kaiser, this is just one extension of Kaiser. They have offices all over Sacramento, and they're a Northern California-based company with a pretty decent reputation. I think they have shade in their past that we can talk about in some other video. However, right now let's talk about the shade coming from their solar panels. That's awesome that it creates that kind of shade while generating electric power. And there are EV power stations here to fill up a electric vehicle, hopefully something besides Tesla, which is becoming a monopoly and a nuisance to a lot of people who can't stand Elon Musk meddling with the government. You know, he has no government experience. He was a born rich elite who's a multi-billionaire, considered the richest man in America, and yet he's still holding and running Tesla. He's holding Tesla stock. and that's considered a conflict of interest to be working for the government while holding stock and profiting off of it from using the position to promote stock, which is kind of what's been happening. Anyway, I'm glad Kaiser has a solar facility there. Believe it or not, there's solar all over town. Kaiser also has offices across from Sacramento, Cal Expo, where they have the state fair, annual state fair, and that has a solar parking lot as well. Let's continue our journey down Arden Way, also known as Corporate America. And here at St. Ignatius Parish School, part of St. Ignatius Church, we see a sign in which they try to attract new recruits through free food. So they're having a free meal March 26th. That's tomorrow, 6 p.m. Sharing God's bounty. I will not be here. I don't take advantage of these kind of things. I'd rather someone who's homeless or needy take that place of me instead. I don't need a free meal, or I don't need to join a religion for any reason, because I already have my own self-help mechanisms like playing guitar, exploring music, and a certain type of meditation. I think that's important. I don't know all the levels of actual meditation that, say, the metaphysical experts know, but I understand how to relax and how important that is to good health. Across the street is GameStop. They've had a hard time being profitable in the digital age, where you can just download games, video games, and all that stuff that I don't give a care about. I've never been into that. Although, as say like in 1982, 1983, when it was a new thing, we had something called Intellivision, and I was hooked on that for a while, but I myself have never bought with my own money video games or anything like that. I just think for me, it's a waste of money. I'm not criticizing anyone who thinks it's worth. It's kind of like bingo to me. You're just spending money on something that gives you nothing in return. Although maybe there are ways to win with online gambling or whatever. Anyway, that's next to, there's a place called Great Clips. I think that's a hair salon. I don't know. I cut my own hair. Eco-friendly, what is that? I think that's a nail salon. Yes, it is. And that's probably more for women. I don't know if it is or not, but they tend to be. And I just don't shop there for anything. I like the idea of eco-friendly, though, because a lot of women cosmetic products have this toxic chemical in it that's called fragrance. It's a catch-all term for any kind of industrial toxin chemical thrown in as preservatives or for aroma or whatever. It's just fake stuff to fake out consumers, to brainwash them into buying products they don't need. Okay, those strategies, corporate strategies, have existed since about the 1920s, since they did a lot of research on how to brainwash people into buying products they don't really need, especially in the form of personal care products and junk food. Now, in the distance is Joann, a fabric store. Office Max in the distance, that merged with Office Depot a while back. Once in a while I shop there for pens and paper maybe, but not much. And that's the kind of place where I would have been hanging out like back in the 70s and 80s. I just thought, that I'm an artist. I've been an artist a long time, so I'd buy pens and paper there. Lots of nice colored pens, but across the street is Dutch Bros. I guess that's how you would say it. I never go there. That's like a coffee place or something like that. That's only been there about a year, and that's a new constructed building. Auto loan, sorry, don't need one. Okay, that's a little drugstore, or a little liquor store. That every now and then I buy a little tiny item, not a food item, of course, but if I need something, they're they're always kind of there for me once in a blue moon. Sherwin-Williams, that's a paint company, sells buckets of paint. And I have known some painters that might shop there for their supplies. Sherwin-Williams is one of the bigger paint companies. They recently joined the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is just 30 stocks, 30 big companies out of thousands of big companies, and not necessarily the 30 biggest. It's just picked by a committee. But because they're on the Dow, that clarifies that they're a very big corporation. And of course, everyone's heard of Bank of America. They're just a big bank on Wall Street. I used to bank with them until they did some shady thing about switching the order of my withdrawals, switching the timeline of it so that they could make it an overdraft. They did that on purpose. ABC News even reported it back in the financial crash of 2008. That's why I dropped these guys and even told them that. And they had nothing to say except looked embarrassed. So no, I'll never bank there again. Same way with Wells Fargo. They pulled some big prank that I don't need to get into. But I had a business account there and will never bank with them again. Now we're at the corner of Arden and Morse Avenue, and diagonally from us, that gray building in the background, that's called Bev Mo. They serve all kinds of, well, they sell all kinds of bottled drinks there, and it's usually not organic. I haven't found much of a selection of organic there. They might carry some, but not enough to interest me. Next to them is a church that's always been there since the 70s, probably longer. Afghan ice cream and grill. I guess they kind of moved their restaurant somewhere. It used to be this whole building here, and maybe now it's just in the back. I can't tell. I don't go there ever. The Walk is a takeout, delivery, and catering place. And I don't know if it says now open. I guess that's separate from a Roll and Bowl, a sushi place, brand new, replacing the Afghan ice cream place. But I don't eat at any of these places, just like I don't eat at most public restaurants. Next to them is Jim Boy's, which says established 1954. It's been there a long time, this particular store. And I used to eat here all the time, but kind of dropped out of it after studying all that information about food, what's healthy food. And I do know there's supplier. Every restaurant like this has a big supplier who brings a big truck, you know, ships in their ingredients, and their supplier is Cisco, one of the biggest suppliers, food suppliers in America. Jim Boy started in, I believe, Reno or somewhere in that area, and then had some early restaurants in the 50s in Sacramento. I guess 1954 is when they started having restaurants in Sacramento. I don't know how long this one's been here, but it's been here forever. Kind of like Big Five Sporting Goods across the street for as long as I can remember. That means even going back to the late 70s. Arden signs, banners, print. I love the idea of a print shop, even though they're not eco-friendly places. Yeah, they're polluters to a degree, but some of them have taken steps to modernize and be more eco-friendly. The reason is I'm just attracted to art. I've always wanted to experiment with banners and that kind of stuff. I just haven't gotten into it. And I went in here once and asked them if they could create artwork for me and put it on a banner, and they said, no, you have to have your own artwork. So that's why I'm never coming to this place. I asked for a recommendation of another place. They couldn't give me one. Another strike. CBD plus, I guess. I mean, that's cool. I just don't need to buy it as medicine. I like cannabis as recreation. Okay, embroidery, but it does have therapeutic values, like it's relaxing. It's considered a medicine now. Embroidery and Screen printing, another type of printing place. I don't need to go there. They're same story. You got to bring in your own artwork. I'm looking for a graphic artist. I'm a graphic artist to a degree, but more I do hand-drawn art and transform it into graphic art. But I'd love to get with someone who's good at Photoshop and all that other, Illustrator and all those other, art platforms. Abla Jewelers. I never go to jewelry stores, except once I interviewed a jewelry store owner or manager, I can't remember, but that was downtown Sacramento. And it was for SAC TV. I have to look that up. But anyway, I actually, as a writer for lots of different websites and different industries, I've written a lot of articles about jewelry. So I have an understanding of how jewelry is valued. That means if I ever got into it, I'd probably do it as an investor, as opposed to someone just trying to show off fancy jewelry, because I'm not that kind of person. I don't wear fancy clothes. I don't buy fancy things. I'm just not into showing off anything or trying to fake people out that I'm rich. I'm not. Most of the people who are rich, they were either born rich or they're somehow connected to Wall Street. The owner of Amazon, which owns Whole Foods, not far from here, like a mile back that way, east of where we are, east of Watt Avenue. Owner of Whole Foods is Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, and he also has a big CIA contract. So I don't know if they're conducting surveillance on their customers. I wouldn't be surprised, and it's no big deal to me if they are, because all I'm doing is buying food there. I'm not breaking any laws. There's a tax place right across from the one that went dark, and a nail place. Nails are really popular on this street. IRS problems, another tax place. So they're still in business, and I would assume these are smaller businesses. I never go here. Piano Man, what is that? Is that piano lessons? I don't have a need for a piano. I do have an electronic keyboard at home, and I love learning music on it. I do not, they have a mask warning on their thing. Please wear a mask. It's not even the COVID era anymore. Here's a pita restaurant. I never go there. I just don't eat out much. World of Stereo. Here's a place that I do shop at from time to time, but just to rent like DJ equipment. If someone hires me for a DJ gig, this is exactly where I would go. They got good deals on all kinds of pro audio equipment. I've been an audio enthusiast since the 70s. So yeah, and they have very nice people work here. This is, I believe, a small business. And I've talked with the management here, and they're very cool people. So this is probably one of my most favorite places on Arden Way. And that's going to conclude this segment of the Arden Way Tour 2025. It's such a long street, I have to break this into segments. So my next video will pick up near here where the post office is.
History is full of lies, depending on the messenger. It's meant to keep you locked inside the feelings of the publisher. this wasn't first defined. This land we say is so divine. The bows and arrows couldn't endure the cannons of the conquerors. History is full of lies, depending on the messenger. It's meant to keep you locked inside the feelings of the publisher. Didn't happen in history. It didn't happen in history. No, it didn't happen in history.